All right, welcome back everybody to the Abandoned Cabin series. Today's project is this laundry room garage area. So this laundry room is a complete disaster, terrible use of space. We are going to be supporting the ceiling up here. This is sagging down because this span is way too far. We're gonna be adding a beam here to make that a little bit more rigid. We're also gonna be framing in the new bathroom for when we rip out the current bathroom, make a staircase. We need a spot for a downstairs powder bathroom. That's gonna be going right here. And then this laundry room is going to be shifting over to this spot right here. So that other beam that we saw downstairs ends right here. As you can see with the 6-foot level here, we are about 3 inches from level, and that's completely unacceptable. We need to get this square. We're gonna be adding some stringers here so it doesn't do that.
I probably messed around with this sink for about 15 minutes before I decided that there's a much faster way of doing this.
There we go.
Moving on to this hot water tank here, this double system's going away, so I'm breaking out the Sawzall and doing a little bit of clearance in, just cleaning up the area so that way I can frame out these walls. Favorite parts about remodeling a house that currently has stuff in it is that you get to move stuff, and then you get to move stuff, and then you get to move it again. So moving this washer dryer out of the way, cutting out that sink, that's going away. We'll probably reuse that plumbing for the bathroom sink at some point. The previous owner did some really interesting overframing here, which I'm grateful for because they didn't cut out the structural beams, but it's got to move so that way I can put in that header. There's also some lights in the way. I'm not a very patient man, so Sawzall it is. Cutting out this header pocket here, so that way the header has a place to go once I get it installed. Measuring it out, this is definitely the first time and the only time, definitely, that I'm going to be installing this bracket. I'm making this header out of 3 2x10s. It'll be plenty enough to do what I need to do. I'm just making sure that I over nail it, that way it's not going anywhere. For some reason, my nail gun did not like the galvanized nails that I was using, so I had to manually drive everything even after I nailed it. This is the first attempt of getting that beam in place. Working alone here, so you got to use a second pair of hands whenever you can. In this case, it happens to be 2x4 nailed to the wall. This is the second attempt of putting that beam up. Fun thing about beams is that it never goes up on the first try. I realized that I didn't make the pocket big enough, so I have to clearance it a little bit more. And I also need to cut a pocket in the beam, so that way it will fit that top plate. There's also a bunch of terrible insulation here and some ancient fluorescent bulbs that I had to move. Third attempt, ladies and gentlemen. Will this be the one? Nope. Fourth attempt, put it on the ladder. Being smart this time, and nope. This is my 5th attempt. Got it in place. And the eagle has landed. This is just measuring up so that way I can get a temporary brace in place so I can start jacking it up and getting that floor upstairs up. So my methods may be a little bit unconventional, but I'm using this 4x4 post. Again, there's not a whole lot of weight above this thing. I'm gonna use this 20-ton bottle jack and a 4x4 post just to get those 2 beams that are resting on this header properly in place. Forgot to support the other end. Carpentry is all about precision. That's why I like to cut the short one first, just to get it out of the way. Sending the beam up that last couple inches, measuring it there to make sure compared to the beam up top, and then when I heard a noise that I did not like, so I decided to temporarily brace it farther out on the concrete slab. Don't mind the cribbing here. This is a very professional setup, reviewed by a structural engineer. Completely stamped plans. He even said, tap it in place with your foot. That's a direct quote from a structural engineer. Sending that header up the last ½ inch to get it flush with that beam. And setting in a temporary post so that way I can remove the bottle jack and put the final post where that bracket will go. Now that we're braced up, we can remove that bottle jack and install the bracket for not the 5th time and get the permanent post in place. So as much of a hack as I may seem, I am putting in some real hardware to keep this beam from falling off this post here.
All right, so it is the end of the first day of fixing the structure of this room. We got the beam fully set in place. As you can see, much more flat here. No more give. She's way more solid. It's 4-foot span on the plywood, so we're gonna be putting down some 1 1/8, so it's way more rigid. As far as the structural goes, she's level once again and ready to be covered. Thankfully, none of the drywall is in any worse condition than when we started. Still pink, still very, very pink, yes. Nothing cracked. A lot of uncomfortable noises. It's good to go. Now we can start framing those downstairs rooms and defining the spaces a little bit better. All right, and we are back at the abandoned cabin. The objective for today is to build out this powder bathroom and get this laundry room framed in. I forgot my work boots today, so we got the Tack Crocs. It's all right, we'll put these babies in 4-wheel drive and she'll be just mint. So let's get started.
Going back to the plumbing demo, getting these 2 hot water tanks out of the way. This first hot water tank was empty and did not cause much issue. I was able to bear hug it out of the way. The second one was full of water and way more difficult to move. Frozen solid because this house hasn't had heat in about 15 years, but I was able to get it out of the way. Now this step is going to go, we're going to be extending this platform out, so we had to demo this step. I'm going to be reusing that plywood. And I realized that the platform here was about 1.5 inches out of level, so I'm going to cut this plywood here. The weird overframing that the previous owner did here is going to just get leveled out and nailed back in place. Tried this with a lag bolt to level it out with a bottle jack, and that worked perfectly. So I went to a little bit of a different approach. Got the sky leveled out, added some pressure treated underneath these temporary supports here. Nothing's more permanent than a temporary solution. Got the ledger board leveled out and reinstalled. Try to use the nail method of getting these boards to sit flush with each other. Every tool's a hammer, as you can see there. That did not work, so I had to switch to a screw. Recurrent theme here is I like to install things and then tear them out because I did it wrong. This is the wrong board for this platform that I built, and you'll see me discover that. Quick little tip here, when you're removing nails out of something like a 2x4, you can use another 2x4 as a spacer, and that'll give you way more leverage with your hammer, save you a lot of wrist pain. Got the right ledger board installed here, and I'm able to finish framing out this section of the floor. If you mark your layout with a speed square, that way you know that all of the joists are perfectly square when you install them, and you don't need to use a speed square. to nail them. I had to remove all the nails here out of this section of plywood that I cut out previously. And I'm going to use screws so that way I can pull it out and insulate this floor system when the time comes. Starting the layout for the bathroom here so that way I can make sure that I have enough room with the walls that I frame, because you need a certain amount of clearance from everything. If you mark your layout on the top and bottom plate with a speed square, you know that everything is going to be square dimensionally when you frame it up. A lot of people believe in measure twice, cut once. I prefer to measure once and then beat it in place with a hammer, and then realize that it's not going to fit, actually measure it, and then take it down, recut, and reinstall. This wall is not load bearing, so I can just notch it to make room for that beam that's sagging down. I tried using a chisel here. I'm not a smart man, I should stick to power tools. Personally, I love framing, because the only job where being a little off is just called shim work. Once I did finally get the wall in place, I realized that there's some of this 1x4 in the way, so I had to remove that. Insulation came down with it. People think that framing is just nailing wood together, but really it's about nailing wood together and complaining about the last guy that worked on this house.
All right, so this may come as a complete surprise to some of you, but I'm making this all up as I go, kind of seeing how things fit together, how stuff's flowing. So what we're gonna do is I was originally gonna put a door right here and a door right here, go inside, so that way the laundry room can be nice and warm. That doesn't really flow very nice with this platform being the way it is. We're gonna actually make this a hallway. We're gonna move the door all the way out to right here. It's gonna open that way. It's gonna open in, not that way. We're gonna get rid of this door so we can put our step right there, be legal. We have this nice wide hallway leading down. Washer and dryer are gonna stay in the exact same spots. I was gonna move that, but that was a ton of work. It was better to be there. This whole corner up to the washer dryer is going to be storage lockers and the boot dryers and all that good stuff. And that way you can remove all your snowy clothes or hang them up to dry, and it's nice and warm in here. This will be a heated space and it insulated against the garage right there. All right, camera died, so we're going handheld. This is the entryway that we extended. We're gonna send it even farther. Right here, this will be the vanity right there. Toilet right over there. Be a nice big powder bathroom. Coming around the corner here, this is going to be the new entry door. Cool part about this is the main garage door here. So you'll be able to come in here, you'll be able to head down, unload your gear. This will be an open hallway. This door is going away. Comes right in here. This is where the staircase is going. That's next week's video, and then next month's video. And then that comes out here to the dining room area, just like this. So I think it'll really flow nicely. This hallway leads back to the laundry room. Washer and dryer, those are going away. Right here along this whole wall, and this wall is gonna be banks of lockers for ski equipment. All right, well that wraps it up for this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you could hit a like and subscribe, it really helps my channel grow. That way I can keep doing shenanigans like this. So thanks for watching everybody.